What's up, guys? Welcome to Strength Solutions Podcast. And if you're looking for us, we're on Apple, Spotify, and check us out on YouTube. This video is amazing. I look great. My skin is great. Just came back from Mexico City.
Oh my God. Damn.
So leave comments.
Tell me how good I look.
Leave subscribe. Also, if you're looking for our website, it's Strength Solutions Podcast at gmail.com. Strength Solutions Podcast at gmail.com is where you can leave us fitness questions in the future. And then Strength Solutions Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Of course, we're going to start with a fitness question.
Let's go.
Fitness question, fitness item.
Topic.
And Thanksgiving's coming up. And the holidays.
Yeah.
Did you know the average person gains anywhere from 1 to 10 pounds? Fit people tending to gain more on the lower end.
Okay.
And then people who do not work out
maybe more
on the higher end, right? Let's say like 8 pounds.
Bro, that's kind of a lot.
It is. And so America doesn't really have a weight loss problem.
Yeah.
It's a weight maintenance problem. And this is a good time of year of like, how do I set myself up for success?
Right.
So I'm having this conversation with many clients of mine to remind them, even if I've had them. And something that I talk about each time is, let's talk about the day of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
You know, you're going to have this gigantic meal with family and friends, and you really want to enjoy it. So some things you can do is early on in the week, go in a big calorie deficit.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Right. So the calories that you're having that day kind of balances out. And this is true for as you're going through the holidays. You may have a party on Saturday or Sunday. Maybe you go low carb 2 days before.
Yeah.
And do that. And that way, when you do have the carbs later, it just refills your muscle bellies.
It's a smart idea. I also think if you are someone who works out and things like that, continue to work out right through the holidays. Don't stop. It might even be a good time to maybe push a little more, right? Since you're in a caloric surplus, you can maybe work a little bit more on your strength gains. And so those are all really, really good ideas. I think also talking to a lot of my clients recently about just the way that a plate looks, right? In general, not even just during the holidays, but I think especially during the holidays, right? There should be a large amount of lean protein on there, right? And if you're eating traditional Thanksgiving, you got turkey, man. That's like the leanest, best one you can get.
It's all there.
That's just straight protein.
And if you are working
dry
out,
as fuck.
that's what that gravy's for.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And if you aren't working out, this is a great time to start working out.
Yeah.
To get your newbie gains.
Yeah. Oh man, that's actually
you're like compounding.
That's a really good point, man. You're just starting in a big surplus. You're like ready to go. You can hit some big weights. That's smart, man. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. So let's break down the day of Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
This is where I would do a HIIT workout.
Okay. To start the day off.
You know why? Because I want to empty out all my carbohydrate stores as much as possible.
Okay. Smart. Yeah.
Right. And it's a little bit more caloric burning than the average workout. And if you don't do it all the time, your body's not adapt to it. So it's going to use all the food to kind of refuel your body.
Yeah. Very smart.
Second thing is, depending at what time you have your meal, if it's a dinner, try to go low carb throughout the day. Simple as that. If it's a lunch, get that workout in and then have the lunch. Yeah. It's perfect. But set it up where you have your fruits and vegetables and your protein plate number one. Right? Don't even grab anything else. I'm not telling you can't enjoy it. Right. The mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and all that stuff. Then go for it. And you'll just basically lower your calorie intake right there. Right. Yeah. Because we're putting in the lean protein first. We're getting all the vegetables, everything. So you're nutritionally, right, like feeding your body. And then afterwards, you probably, I mean, who knows? You may not even want anything else, right? If you're eating pretty well and you're saving all of those calories for a later time, right? So that you're set up better. I like that idea a lot. Normally what I do is I'll do the same thing. I'll usually do a large portion of protein. I'll do the vegetables, things like that. I usually skip any, like, I don't want to say empty calories, but like I'll skip the roll, I'll skip things where I'm just like, I'm a bread guy. I don't skip that.
Yeah.
I skip the
you love
stuffing.
Carbs. Oh, what?
I skip
Gotta skip the stuffing, bro.
whatever the potatoes that are scalloped potatoes.
Okay.
I skip those.
Yeah.
So just find out what you want to skip, right?
Right. Yeah. And I would say fill your plate up first, but I would stay away from straight like desserts, things like that. You can save that for afterwards.
So yeah, you can save for afterwards, but you don't have to eat all the desserts. This is
That
where
too.
you got to pick the ones you like. Like if there's not a chocolate dessert, I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
And
You
it's funny
chocolate boy?
because they're like, yes, like in my wife's family, they're like, oh, you don't like cheesecake? It's not that I don't like cheesecake. It's I'd rather have this and start even throughout the holidays. Start doing that. I'd rather have this than this, and like bargain with yourself.
Yeah,
go with like lower calories throughout the week, less carbs throughout the week. Then when you have that day or party or whatever, that's when you do it.
I think you made a good point about planning. I think that's an excellent point because I'm going to say most of the time we probably know when we're going to Thanksgiving, whose house it is, what's going to be there, the time, right? Yep. So you have the ability to kind of plan either the day before, maybe even afterwards, the morning of, something, right, in place, whether it's what you're going to eat that day, right? Like you're saying, what I'm going to pick and choose, or what workout I'm going to do. Like we have the ability to do these things, right? Yeah.
And when the work parties are, or the family parties or birthday party, when these things are happening. You just got to plan ahead.
Maybe that's one of those things too, right? Where it's like, okay, I got 5 different events to attend. I'm going to pick 2 of them. Maybe the 2 that are the most obligation, or the 2 that that you can get away with,
or
right?
people who mean more to you.
Yeah. Because you also, in the same way with dessert, you don't have to go to every party. I'm sure,
people feel like that.
They do, right? Yeah, I think there's
Guilty.
like a sense of guilt, right? Yes. Yeah, or responsibility, or it's the holidays or something, or maybe they just want to have fun too, right? And go and enjoy themselves throughout the month. But yeah, choose the ones that you're going to go to. I think is a good idea.
And I would argue if you set up yourself with these skills right now during the holidays, they carry over to that January 1st day.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you set yourself up for success throughout the holidays, and I've noticed this when people join the gym around this time in October, November, December, they tend to continue on because it's not an emotional decision. So if you're someone new, this is like the perfect time to join the gym. It's not as busy. You can get comfortable in the gym space that you're at. Yeah. And it can make a huge difference. Yeah. Now, something I'm going to bring up, I would have never brought up before because I was young. Sleep. Make sure you get quality sleep, because what ends up happening is throughout this time, your immune system drops because you're not sleeping. Then you're eating this poor food. You get sick, and then you feel bad. And because you feel bad, you make these poor decisions, eating over and over and over again. And then you don't work out. So pretty much use this last part of the year to like plan and make sure you're successful. Because let's say you come into this and you only gain 1 pound all of December.
That's pretty successful.
That 1 pound is probably not 1 pound of fat.
Yeah.
It's probably 1 pound of inflammation. And then when you go to like your regular diet, you're back to normal. Right. That's the big difference, I think. Yeah. Planning everything.
Planning.
Yeah, just like I planned a trip to Mexico City this past week.
Dude, you're back, man.
I'm back.
La cucaracha. La cucaracha.
Literally came back last night.
How was it, man? So how many days were you gone? You were gone from Thursday, right?
Friday to Tuesday.
Friday to Tuesday. Okay.
We left Friday during the day. Direct flights. Takes about 2 hours. Whoa. Mexico City is amazing.
Dude, so I've heard. Yeah, I was talking to some clients beforehand coming here, and one of them lived in Mexico for a while, and she was like, Mexico City is beautiful.
Bro, the food, the best paleta ever.
That's what you're going to go with, paleta?
Well, I'm going because this thing was like out of this world.
Oh, what was so good about it?
Bro, it was like so fresh, so good. I literally came in my hands. It was amazing, dude. Wow. It was just, the food was amazing. The flavors. I mean, tacos here are boring.
Wow.
I'm telling you, you got to go.
Dang, man. That's super cool.
What's cool is the transportation there. You could walk there. You could take a bus. You could take a bike. Your Ubers are like $5 to $10.
So cheap.
It's just an amazing place to be. Like, me and Amanda want to go back.
That's awesome, man. Did you go to the Pharmacia?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I'm hoping with like the deregulation of pharmacies here.
Yeah. Which might be happening.
It might be happening, right? Yeah. That the prices go down how they were over there. Yeah. Like literally something that we got for $100 would have been like $1,100.
It's wild, bro.
Here. Yeah. And then I was listening to this guy on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about someone could come into my pharmacy and I pay $2 for a metformin.
Okay.
You're just giving generic.
Sure.
And I sell it for $4. But if they tell me they have insurance, I can't say anything. It's like a gag order that they have. So they can't even say, I'm going to save you money. So what they do is they'll run the card and everything and say your copay is $10. And so they have to pay $10 instead of $4.
Wow.
And so this is crazy. This is why it needs to be deregulated.
So like, is it almost like I should go into a pharmacy and say, I don't have insurance and see what price they're going to give me and then be like, nah, I don't have insurance?
Yeah, I literally would.
Wow. Yeah. Cause you know what's funny? I've never really looked into how they work, but I'm sure you've seen those like pharmacy discount cards, right? Like Good RX and stuff like that. Like, how does that work?
Bro, antivirals, metformin, and all that's really cheap. The cards work because there's a manufacturer discount.
Okay.
It's really cheap to make a lot of the stuff that
they're
like antivirals, and antivirals a little bit more than antibiotic, right?
But come on, bro. None of this shit costs as much as we pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just wild, the markup price. But it was cool. The pharmacy was there. Went to a couple places, went to this kid museum. My kids got to touch an actual heart.
Whoa.
Like a real heart.
Dang.
With some gloves on, and they put their hands in there.
Whoa.
And they're describing like, this is where the aorta is at, like artery.
How cool is that, bro?
It was a really cool experience.
What did you guys end up doing? Were there any like big events every day? So I'm assuming you went to like some sort of museum?
So we went to a museum. We took what's called a Turi bus.
Okay.
And it's a bus that takes you around the city. There's different routes, and you have the top where it's open and talk about the history and stuff like that. What's cool on Sundays, there's like this main street. It gets closed down. You have to either ride a bike or go running through there.
Whoa.
And so you could go through this whole city like almost with just your bike.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
amazing.
Super cool.
I was like, dude, Nathaniel would have loved this.
Yeah, that's so cool, bro.
And one of our friends who runs marathons, I was like, dude, you got to run a half there.
Yeah.
At least.
That is so cool, man.
Dude, it's cool. We went shopping a lot because that's what they like to do. But I want to plan back and go see the castle.
Castle?
Yeah. There's a castle there. And then there's these volcanoes. You can't really go see them. But my brother-in-law's wife, her parents were from there.
Okay.
So this told us about the story about one volcano is a little bit more like this, and then the other volcano is a little bit more vertical over the top of it. And it's a story of a man and woman, kind of like Romeo and Juliet.
Wow.
Like she wasn't supposed to be there. And I can't do it word for word, you know, how they were telling me. But like this volcano is the woman laying down, and she like took the poison, and then the guy's over the top because he was protecting her, and he took the poison over top, and that's what ended up happening.
Dude, isn't that badass, man? Like, I feel like or I don't know, maybe we do. Maybe I'm just like not cultured enough. But like, I feel like in America, we don't have stories like that.
No, there's no.
Yeah. I say this a lot, but I'm like, there's no culture. You know what I mean? There's no like deep rooted.
So look at our buildings versus the buildings in different countries.
Yeah.
Like they all have something like ours is very efficient.
Yes.
That's all. That's all it comes
like
out.
Even going to England, right? And like looking at stuff like, okay, so one of the main things about England that I think is super weird is that everybody has an address, right? Like, you know, 800, whatever or something. In England, there's no addresses like that. Every house has a name.
No way.
Yeah. So it's like something, you know, whatever. One of the houses that
I'm going to name my house.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, this house's name is this. I don't know. There's like some sort of, I don't know, soul into it. You know, they like do something about it. And that's awesome. That's really cool.
Dude, yeah. So it's cool. There's a thing that we saw, me and Amanda, that we want to do in the future is air balloons. You get to ride air balloons.
Whoa.
Around.
Like a hot air balloon?
Uh-huh.
Dude, that's too scary for me, man. How do you control that shit, bro? I don't like that.
They know how to do it, whatever they're doing.
It's magic.
There's like a boats thing that they do.
Okay.
You paddle. And then, so there's a couple of things. We want to go see the pyramids next time. And
dude,
so we'll probably make a couple of trips. It's super cheap.
Pretty legit, man.
Yeah.
Pretty legit.
Just don't run out of water. Or else you're going to be buying a lot.
Can you drink the water there? No.
Wow. You can't. And the city only turns on the water for houses. Is a lot of the houses have these like gigantic, like 5,000 gallon barrels because they only going to fill it. The city only allows water to run through a certain amount of time. It's a lot bigger than you think. What's the population for New York?
No.
It's 8.8 million.
Okay.
What do you think the population of Mexico City is?
Okay, let me just ask this. Is it more or is it less?
It's more.
It's more?
Yeah. It's also wider than
15.
New York. 24.8 or 23.8 million.
Dude, That's insane.
Dude, I thought we were gonna get hit a bunch of times in the car. Dude, like cars, there's like no rules. Like
You're just,
like
just
we're
chaos.
riding the bus, and me and my daughter are in front, and this car goes like this in front of the bus. It's
No rules.
wild. I come back, and I'm coming back during rush hour in San Antonio, and I was like, chill driving. I was like, telling man, I'm not even stressed right now. Like this is
shit's
nothing.
badass.
We don't even have nothing compared to them.
Perspective,
man. You know, like I was so calm. Even this morning, I was driving back during rush hour, like after I finished this appointment, and I was like, "This is nothing."
That's wild, bro. That's hilarious.
Dude, I'm
man.
like calm. My blood pressure's down. Like I'm usually all like upset. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
I had a friend who was from Honduras. And one of the things I'll never forget that he told me, like it cracked me up because he was like, bro, in Honduras, the streets are for cars, man. Like he was like, you don't walk on that shit. Like they will run your ass over.
Well, how did they get over to the other side then?
Well, you can, right? But he was like, he was just kind of iterating how like they don't give a shit. Like, you know, like that, get the fuck out of the way.
I think it's only the U.S. that we actually have rules. Because even when you go to Puerto Rico, there's like a little bit of like hesitation when you cross. It's not as bad as Mexico
I mean, like
was.
even in England, when especially if you're in the countryside, like, dude, there was whole roads that were just one lane. So you'd be driving down and someone's coming down the opposite way and you're like, you literally got to like roll into the brush and like let them by. You just keep going and it's like, no rules, bro. You just do whatever.
You know what's crazy? I felt like it worked for them though, because it's such a big city and there's different angles. Yeah. There's no like really good like road work because it's like old, right? But having the bus and then having the bus goes north and south and east and west. There's a bus lane.
Okay.
So like it doesn't get stopped by other cars.
Oh wow.
So it makes like using public transportation good. Then on the outsides, there is these small bike lanes that only bikes can go through.
Wow.
And so they built a lot of these infrastructure places. And I think my mother-in-law was telling me that like cars have stickers. So you can only drive your car on this day.
Okay, I've heard of this. I've heard of that. Yeah.
And so like it lessened the roads.
How interesting to come up with all those ideas in order to like keep
it's
super dense population.
23.8 million. Like
that's wild.
And you know what's crazy? We're talking about immigration here a lot, right? And so they're like deporting Mexicans. So the TikTok that's over there is a little different, right? And the Mexican president like we're about to deport Americans back over here that are living in Virginia. Here, dude. So like it was just funny to see. But I did see a news reel where they were talking about like they're in Mexico City. Now they're hearing French, Italian, German migrating to Mexico City.
Wow.
And so this whole migration thing made me really think a lot about like, we see it in America as like, oh, Americans are the only ones that get illegal immigrants, the words that we use versus like Americans are going abroad too. Like it goes both ways.
Oh yeah.
And we just, it's more complex. It's not as simple as people think, but also I was thinking about like all these Spanish speaking people that go through Latin America, South America, all the way through Mexico to go to the United States. Why not go to Mexico City? There's a lot of opportunity for you. You already speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Maybe easier for you to get a job and be more related to the culture. I wonder
what it is. Maybe
I wonder what it is too.
I think it's like an old thought. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like America's the same America it used to be. I don't feel like there's as many opportunities as it used to be. Like, maybe it is somewhere else now. You know, maybe it is somewhere in Mexico. Maybe it is somewhere overseas.
Well, I mean, I was listening to a podcast. I got to look up the stats to make sure they're right. But he was from the UK. He was like, the wealth in the UK, it's easier for you to climb up the change in distribution of wealth up and down a ladder is a lot easier, where in America, they keep their wealth at the top a lot better. So they make it look like you can move up, but they keep their wealth from a percentage basis. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's wild, dude. I was just thinking about the immigration thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That is different. I think that, you know, you get stuck in a bubble, you know, and you hear the same stuff or you're fed the same things and you just start to develop I don't want to say like a hatred, but like, you know, you develop a bias. I'll say that, right? But it's happening all over and everywhere.
Yeah. And then before I get into your Ren Faire, I wanted to go like, I remember I talked about
that's for losers.
Talk about the tariffs that we talked about last time.
Yeah.
So I did more research and stuff like that. And dude, this stuff is very complex. Like it could be good for America. It could be bad for America. And I was listening to this economy guy. He's like, it's just such a different market today.
Yeah.
And then I listened to a guy talk about, well, what Chinese companies could do is they make an American company, quote unquote, on Amazon. And then, so they get tariff, they pay that and pass consumer. So now Chinese are going to get more money out of it.
Wow.
To bypass it.
Yeah.
Because their American Amazon store is not a Chinese store. It's an American store.
Right.
I don't know how that would work, but
I was, it's funny. I was laughing because I was watching this video and they were taking like an excerpt from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah.
And in it, I think one of the teachers or whatever is like talking about tariffs in the Great Depression. And they were like, he explained it really well and like did it in like a silly way. And they were explaining that during the Great Depression that they had imposed, I forgot, it was like the Hawley something act where they imposed tariffs, right, on a lot of other areas in order to try and create more revenue for the United States government, right, to kind of get people out of the depression. And it didn't work. They ended up sinking in deeper into the depression. It was funny because I was kind of thinking and I was like, I wonder what the thought process behind that was, because if American companies are already suffering and then you're trying to create like more tax on it, I don't know, maybe it was, maybe it was just a bad idea, or maybe they didn't quite understand what they were doing, or maybe on paper it looked like it was good. But I don't know. And so thinking about that, I'm like, okay, well, I guess the goal then is to create more revenue, right, for the US government, which I think at the moment makes sense, especially with like a high debt, right? Everything like that we have to.
That's why they want to cut spending.
Right. Yeah. The government, or what do they call it? The Department of Government Efficiency, the Doge, right?
The Doge,
Did you hear about that? Yeah.
Oh, just like he liked Dogecoin. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was like,
is Dogecoin going to take over?
It pumped a while back. I saw it's like up to like 23 cents.
Take over Bitcoin though.
I don't think so.
Or what if it becomes the official currency of the United States?
Dogecoin, that would be fucking.
It's a way to get rid of inflation,
dude. Who knows, man? Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. We got a lot
brilliant businessman
uncertainty, in the next 4 years. Yeah, but we'll see. It's interesting to hear about. Yeah,
and the tariff thing is just interesting to like. And there's a guy who's like, true American capitalism happened between like after World War II to like 1985.
Oh, okay.
And then it's kind of changed because they. Technology, and now it's about technology. And then I was talking to a client this morning about a little bit of AI and 3D printing, and soon enough I saw a video, I think I sent you, there's where you can put your foot in this scan and they can make you a 3D printed shoot personalized for your foot.
Dude, that's badass.
And so I was talking to him about it. I was like, dude, we're probably 3 or 5 years where Chinese manufacturing is not going to matter.
Maybe.
And I think,
and I can imagine,
and maybe the tariffs push that faster.
Right. And I don't remember if you had said this the last time or if I had just been thinking about it, because I was talking to my brother a while back.
You don't think, bro?
Yeah, sheep. And I was like, I guess the goal, trying to think of goals of the tariffs and things like that is like, I guess to bring manufacturing back to the United States, right? To incentivize companies to be here.
But that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think that they're going to find loopholes around, like you said, like with creating different sorts of companies or things.
And if I'm a business too, all I'm going to do is instead of going from China, maybe I'll go to Mexico.
Yeah, at least bring it closer, right? Yeah. So Mexico City. What?
I was already there. Highway.
There you go.
Yeah. There's a store called Highway.
No way,
for real.
That's hilarious. What do they sell? Is it just
clothes?
Just normal stuff.
They say highway.
You can get a I love Mexico City shirt.
Next time I go back.
Okay, sorry. There you go. Yeah.
So let's talk about this Ren Faire you're going to.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You love these things.
How out there. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's pretty fun.
So are you going dressed up, by the way?
We got to, bro. You got to go dressed up, man.
So both of you are going dressed up?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Every weekend, from what I understand, I think at the Texas Renaissance Fair, this specific fair, which is, I learned today, or not I learned today, but I learned over the week because I've been doing some research. I'll tell you about that too. It is the largest Renaissance fair in America, nationally. The largest Renaissance fair. Yeah. It's fucking huge, bro. It's gigantic. Yeah. And so it's called the Texas Renaissance Fair, or the TURF, right? TRF. And this is our second year going. Last year, or it was either last year or the year before, we had went also. But every weekend they do like a little theme. And so this weekend that we're going is Barbarian Weekend. So everybody's gonna dress up. We got our little outfits going. It's gonna be super cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Try and meet some friends out there and stuff like that. But beforehand, I was telling you. So if anybody has HBO Max, there's a 3-part miniseries on there called Ren Faire.
Okay.
And it's a documentary about the Texas Renaissance Fair, about some events that happened in 2021. It's not like
what happened.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not like
I'm not gonna watch this.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Yeah. It's not controversial or anything. There's nothing like crazy that happened. It's about the guy who owns the Texas Renaissance Fair. His name is George Cullum or something like that. He's an older man now. He's like in his 80s or something like that. And then two other guys that are essentially trying to vie for position to be a successor to the Texas Renaissance Fair after he passes away. One of the guys, his goal is to just kind of outright buy it. He's like an entrepreneur. He's got a lot of investments, things like that. He works at the Texas Renaissance Fair. I think he's been there for like 20 odd years, something like that. The other guy is kind of going based more off of merit. Like he's been there pretty much as long as George has, the guy who owns it. And he was like, I feel like I deserve it. You know, I've worked here for a long time. He was like the general manager, stuff like that. And so it just kind of goes through all of these things about like how they're trying to vie for this position and all the stuff that kind of happens into it. Nothing super controversial, nothing's crazy, but it's a good story nonetheless. But I learned that the guy, so it's in a city called Todd Mission, Texas.
Okay.
It's a little bit outside of Houston, about like 30, 40 miles outside
West
of
or
Houston. I think it's east, I believe. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I learned because the first time we got there, I was like, this place is weird. There's like nobody here. It's like super empty. Everything is named like Renaissance this, Renaissance that, blah, blah, blah. The guy, George Cullum, he bought that city.
No way.
He owns the whole city. He's the mayor of that city.
Cool.
Yeah. And pretty much everybody that works at the Renaissance Fair, like as staff, also are the people that live in the city. So it's almost like this little
cool.
like weird like compound culty type thing where
almost
they
like
just
the
like
Amish, right? Like
yeah. They just like live a separate life over there. It's like everything is like the Renaissance Fair all the time. You know, and it's like you can't even get a hotel there. There's no hotels there. You gotta like my hotel's like 30 miles away.
Oh wow.
You know, I mean there might be some, but maybe they sell out super fast or they're, you know,
people
like
know already a year ahead.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting to learn about that. And he had said that he got the idea from reading a book that Walt Disney had wrote about how he like created Disneyland. And in the book, he was like, one of the things that you have to do is you have to incorporate a city. It has to be like built around the amusement park. Like that's what it has to be.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, so I just did what he said and I just bought it and did that. But yeah, so he's looking at the way the documentary ends is that he ends up not selling to anybody or successing it to anyone. He's like, I'm just going to keep it until I die. And so
then they can fight for it.
Yeah. And then, you know, whatever happens, right. Whatever happens. But as we were talking beforehand, you had kind of mentioned that like the Renaissance Fair is sort of like an escape for people, right? A place where you can go and sort of.
Well, so let's set this up properly.
Go ahead.
In the past, we've talked about how tattoos and trauma and people escaping and trauma, things like that. Now you can go forward.
Yeah. And so you were saying that maybe this is a place where people can go escape, right? They can go dress up. They can be someone that they're not, right? And that was a big part of the documentary. One of the guys kind of mentions that a lot of the time where he was like, even I can pretend, right, to be, you know, the king of this or whatever. And it just gives you like a way to sort of escape from it. And it made me think too, because I was like, all the people that live there in that city never like leave the Renaissance Fair.
Wow.
You know, they're always in it. You know, it's always a part of it. It's the next big thing in the city. It's always happening all the time. It almost kind of reminded me of like a carnival-esque type thing from in the past, right? Where you kind of go to escape and you're just like in this different life and doing all these different things. And the types of people, I think too, that you see in the video and stuff like that, you're like, yeah, these people are like, they're just different. You know, they're just like a different breed of individual.
Yeah. So because we were talking a little bit too about like the rise and popularity with cosplay.
Yeah. Cosplay.
And this, right. Uh-huh. Does it have to do with a lot of unhealed trauma?
I think so. Cause it's fun. You know, you can go and you can pretend to be something you're not. It's a different time, right? You can go and talk differently and you got all your friends there. And some people camp there, you know, for the whole, it's like a month and a half.
I wonder how many people even go just throughout the year to be there.
So according to the video or to the documentary, it looks like in peak season, every day they get around like 18 to like 20,000 people going. It's fucking insane, dude.
They gotta make mad bank in that
Dude,
1 month.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, because like, dude, that shit makes money.
Because there are probably people who still go, but they like to go during the off time because it's not too busy.
Right. Yeah. You go on the weekdays, right? They have like special stuff.
Not even weekdays, but like, let's say like summertime.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how they do it.
Because it's supposed to be a whole year thing, right?
I don't know. Yeah. That part I don't know.
Come on, bro. You're supposed to do research for me. I'm not the Ren Faire
From
guy.
what I understand,
You're failing
like,
as a Ren
it's like
Faire
a
guy.
season. So it's like they go from like September to like, beginning of December, and then that's the end of the season. Now, I don't know if you can do it. Now, I do know for a fact, because we saw it, you can get married there. You can do like events. So maybe you can rent out the place privately, for other stuff, because there's no way that they just let it sit there and not make money. Right.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit pulls in.
It's probably expensive
bank,
too.
dude. Yeah. Like,
you should look up your wedding.
Yeah. It looks, dude, they like parade you through. You ride in a carriage. They they have like a whole like train of people. They like yell it out. They take you all the way to the sanctuary. You can, it's a whole like entertainment thing. Yeah. It's pretty cool, man. You should go. Have you ever been? No?
I don't speak nerd or virgin or loser.
Or loser. Yeah. It's really fun, man. It's a good time. Go ahead.
No. Before you go on, before I know you're trying to end it, but I don't want you to end it.
No, go ahead.
I think it's amazing that we glorify or like this time period. Like people were dying, like the plague and starving and unsanitary
cholera.
But we try to make it seem like this glorious time
with kings and knights. It's the same thing too, where it's like you just take the part that looks good, right? Just take the part that looks.
Wipe off the other part of history.
Yeah. There's no plague. There's no
rats anywhere.
Yeah. Because and I bet someone out there will correct me if I'm wrong again, but I think it's like the time frame of like 14 to like 1500 medieval times, right? And so, yeah, you're right. It is funny. It's like people were like indentured servants and slaves and dying and getting tortured and stuff.
Maybe I'll go with you one time, but I'll bring a gun and be like, guys, your sword ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah. So let's go.
You versus me right now.
You're just gonna walk into the Coliseum where they're jousting and just blast people.
Joust this motherfucker.
No, it's a good time, man.
Do you get a big turkey leg?
Last time I don't think we did, but you know what's funny? Watching the documentary too, it's like there's families that have been doing the Renaissance Fair for forever.
Really?
And they like it's like the people who own all of the Greek restaurants, right? One of the guys, the dude who's trying to buy the company, his name is Louis. He owns like all of any of the like kettle corn, popcorn stuff, like it's all his. So there's like it's so confusing. It's like there's actual like businesses within the businesses. So like as the Texas Renaissance Fair is its thing, the Greek food people, the popcorn people, the whatever, they're not part of like the Renaissance Fair. They're like a separate entity within it. And so like even at some point, like the Greek company people are like trying to see if they can maybe buy the company and stuff like that. It's really weird how it works and how like the business model is set up and everything like that. It was an interesting show to watch for sure. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're a health and fitness podcast. We'll get back on track here. And I do want to go back to Mexico City and talk about food.
Okay. Yeah.
So I ate a bunch of food and I didn't gain a pound.
How interesting, man.
And I really didn't feel inflamed. Mm-hmm. And I really think this deregulation thing is going to make a huge difference. Their meat looks different. Mm-hmm. It's a lot leaner. Mm. So you know how you get all the saturated fat by like conventional, like they feed these animals not what they're supposed to be fed. Yeah. So they fatten them up.
Right.
Dude, it made a huge difference. The bread, like I can have a dessert. Like I told you, the paleta was amazing. Mm. I didn't really finish the paleta. I gave it to my son or whatever. I can have a couple bites and be fine. Yeah. Where I feel like if I start here, I'm just addicted. I want to go. I want to go.
Yeah, interesting.
And it's funny because I have a friend and I've seen other influencers talk about like red dye number 40 is not the reason why you're gaining weight and stuff like that. But it plays a role in being addicted to food. And what people don't realize, it affects people differently.
Yes.
And so because you have this experience doesn't mean somebody else doesn't have a different experience. And maybe it leads to less obesity because now you're not as addicted to the food. Like I could have a couple of chips and not feel like I need the whole bag. I really want to see that with you if you go over there.
Okay. You know what? Let's talk about that real quick. So the other day we went to, there's like this little, I guess you'd call it like a Mexican grocery store called La Fiesta. I don't know if you've ever heard of this place.
I know it. Yeah.
It's like a little tiny grocery store. There's one that that is by where I used to live. And I was stopping there because the protein there is super cheap, bro. The meats, like, oh my God, it's fucking impossibly cheap. Yeah.
Especially since your whole fridge, according to your English girl.
My gigantic fridge. Yeah. So look, for example, so the other day we went to H-E-B and we were buying food and we had like these recipes that we were going to do, bro. Yeah. And so we were looking at, we were going to buy some ribeye. 3 of them was like $28. And I was like, God damn. I was like, nah, I'll pass on that. And Camille brought it up. She was like, you should go to that little place that's by where you used to live. And I was like, oh yeah. So bro, I went by, they had like 3 ribeyes, pretty nice. Guess how much, dude?
20?
Nope.
18?
Nope.
16?
Fucking way less, bro.
No way.
It was like $10.
What was the weight on them though? What was the weight difference?
So they were like comparable in size. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if they were maybe the best cut, maybe, whatever, right? Like maybe the quality of it was a little bit less. But regardless, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to buy it.
My bank account says this is better.
Says this is pretty nice. Yeah.
So now I would like you to go back and see what's the actual comparable weight.
Yes, I'll pay attention. Yeah. But let me get to what I was saying. So my daughter's running around and she was like, oh, can I get something? And I was like, yeah, sure. So she was like, I really want Doritos. And I was like, okay, fine. So we're looking for chips and stuff like that. Now here, they don't really have the normal chips that you can buy, right? So we found Doritos, but I knew they were from Mexico. They were like from imported. It
says Hecha en Mexico.
yeah. Everything's in Spanish, right? It says sabor de, everything. And so she buys them. We go back to the car and she opens them up and she's eating them and she was like, these are weird. And I was like, yeah, they're from Mexico, man. Like they're not the same. And she was like, yeah, they're still pretty good, but it's just not the same. And I was like, interesting. So the week goes on and I didn't try any or anything like that. But then she left back with her mom and I was like, you know what, let me try some of these. So I eat it and bro, completely different. Not as palatable, way less flavor. It really tasted like a tortilla chip with like flavoring on it, as opposed to like, everybody knows what Doritos taste like.
Bro,
right?
Doritos are like the ultimate crunch, cheesy, bomb.
Like in America, I know for a fact that they are created in order for you to not ever get full eating them. Yeah. Eating the Doritos with those, I was like, it's good. I like it, but it wasn't like, and I'm going to say it like this. It wasn't enjoyable. It was like I was eating it. It was nice. I could have a few, like you said,
and enjoy it for the few
and be done. Yeah. But if you smash open a bag of Doritos and you're just like, I need to eat the whole damn thing,
dude. Even the donut was like that over there.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
It's wild. Yeah, it's so wild that fitness people will act like it doesn't make a difference.
Oh my God, dude, go anywhere else and you'll be like, yeah, never mind.
Dude, I literally ate quite a bit and I didn't have inflammation.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking too, like, what if because we're so inflamed here, it makes it really hard to lose weight because your body's always fighting inflammation first before trying to drop weight. Even though you're not eating a lot, your body's just still fighting the inflammation because it's having issues.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've had corn a little bit over there, like corn tortillas. It's not the same as me having corn tortillas over here.
Oh yeah, you did say that. Yeah. Huh?
It's just, I really think, yes, calories in, calories out matter.
Sure.
But this also matters.
We're fighting a hard battle over here.
You're fighting an uphill battle saying it's not going to be addictive. It's also going to play a role for certain people more than others.
And that's why I think we push the whole food thing so much because unless you're eating whole foods, like, man, I don't know, dude.
It should be at the end of the day.
Right. Sure. But like 80 to 90% of the food that we have here is just processed. It's addictive. It's made for you to consume over and over and over. Buy more. And it's like, you really have to go whole food because otherwise it's.
Yeah. As soon as you have something, boom.
Yeah. I want more. I need it.
Yeah. It's like a Coke, I get another Coke. Like I enjoyed the Coke over there, but it's not like over here. Sometimes with even the Coke Zeros, like I enjoyed the Coke Zero over there, but the Coke Zero over here, like I want more. Like I want more.
Yeah.
Like I have another one. I had one or two and I'm like, this is enjoyable. The 7-Up was good. The Pepsi was good, whatever. But I was like, I don't
Yeah. It's weird.
It's like I don't have this like animal like.
It's like this weird subtle thing, but you're totally right. And it's funny because I didn't even realize it about the Doritos until you brought that up. But I do remember eating them and just being like, something's off, you know?
And the food was good, dude.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Dude, it's wild, right? Like the fact that you said it happened here in the States.
Yeah.
And then your daughter said that. Your daughter has no clue.
Yeah.
She's not that conscious about it.
No.
But to know this doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
And she probably wouldn't be able to put down the bag herself, but she was able to put the bag down herself after a while.
We were eating it on the way home and I was like, you can have a little bit, but we got food at home, you know? And so like after we had driven maybe halfway there, I was like, all right, let's put them away. And she was just like, okay. And
but
just,
if it was actual Doritos, she probably would have fought you on it.
I don't even think there would have been time. She would have killed the bag.
You know? Really?
Yeah. So it was crazy.
Dude,
it was super
that's
weird.
wild.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we talk about these things, I think it's more, a lot of things are more complex. Everything from the tariffs to the immigration, how businesses run, everything has nuance. Fitness has nuance. Freaking being a janitor, cleaning things, like knowing what chemicals to use. We got to realize and stop simplifying everything and just being like, it's this or that. It's very nuanced. Everything we do in life, you know, I just think that needs to be the message, you know, and it takes our podcast to even explain one topic, and we could have kept on going about other things.
Sure. Even
about the holiday stuff. There's so many different routes I could have gone with it or whatever. And I talked to each client completely differently about it because I know their weaknesses and stuff like that. We just gave you general information. I think we forget that life is nuance.
Yep, definitely.
Even a relationship.
Even a bag of chips.
You know, just got to get that trad wife. All right, guys. If you all like what we're doing, please share, like, subscribe. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate, review us. Then check us out on YouTube. You can subscribe, like, leave a comment down below. Looking for our website, strengthsolutionspodcast.com. Free blogs, free guides, and programs for purchase. strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com for future fitness questions. Strength Solutions Podcast, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Until next time, guys. What? Peace out.